Just a few days ago, I posted this video. I asked all of my subscribers to pick my June TBR because I wanted to switch things up and have you guys give me book recs instead of me giving you book recs. So I scrolled through all of the comments on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and I compiled a list of the top 10 most recommended to me books. Honestly, I think y'all did a great job. I think you gave me good recs, but I'm a little scared, a little terrified, but I'm excited to read what you chose. Now, I got so many recommendations and I want to read them all, and I probably will read them all, but I'm only one gal and I can only read so much in a month. And you guys recommended me some chunkers, and I thought it would be fun for me to share them in order of least recommended to most recommended. However, like I said, it's the top 10 of all of the recommendations. So I'm not saying like these were the most least recommended. Of the most recommended, it was number 10 to number 1. But first, let's go through the books of the Bible that y'all chose for me to read in the month of June. I'm currently reading Jeremiah, so that'll continue into June, but you guys recommended for me to read James, 2 Peter, and Romans. And honestly, those are like some of my favorite books in the Bible, so I'm excited to reread them and get fresh revelation and fresh wisdom from them. So I'm very happy with that. Y'all could pick like Leviticus or something. Now let's move on. Let's go through the list of the top 10, starting with number 10. This is the only number that has a tie. All of the other numbers are just one book, but these were equally recommended to me. I have A War of Crowns by Ashley Willingham. This was marketed to me as a Christian version of Game of Thrones or Throne of Glass. Say less. Also equally recommended was Mark of the Raven. I don't have that one physically. I would read that one on my Kindle as well, so I might try to get to both. I'm just not going to commit to reading both. So for now, I'm gonna say it's a tie. I'll read one or the other, but I will try to read them both. Mark of the Raven, I don't know anything about what it's about other than it's a Christian fantasy. So I am really excited that I have at least 2 options for Christian fantasy because I really want to get cracking on the first draft of my Christian fantasy that I'm writing, and I just kind of want to keep one always rotating, always going to keep that genre fresh and in the forefront of my mind. So really excited for those 2 options. Now coming in at number 9. This is the book that terrifies me most. Not just on this list, but from my entire shelf. And I think it's also the longest book that I have on my shelf at over a whopping 1,200 pages. And that is none other than The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. I knew you guys would do this to me. But I asked for only 5-star read recommendations, so I shouldn't be mad because in theory, this should be a 5-star read. I'm just terrified. I'm excited, but I'm terrified to read this. And honestly, I think I would have let this sit on my shelf for at least a few more months, if not the rest of the year, before I picked it up, just because I am intimidated by it, okay? I'm intimidated. But you guys are in control of what I'm reading for the month, so I'm gonna try to get to this chunky monkey. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I will do my best. I have been consistently reading at least 10 books a month, but usually more, which is way more than I normally read. So I'm like, if I only have 10 books on the list and some of them are shorter, I could potentially start and finish this in the month of June. However, don't bank on it. If I at least start it, I will feel accomplished. If you don't know what this book is about, it says it is an epic tale of wrongful imprisonment, adventure, and revenge in its definitive translation. It's about a man who is thrown in prison for a crime he has not committed. And in prison, he learns of a great hoard of treasure hidden on the Isle of Monte Cristo, and he becomes determined not only to escape, but also to use the treasure to plot destruction of the 3 men responsible for his incarceration. Everybody who has said that I need to read this says don't be intimidated by the size because it's actually a page turner. So that's good to know because this thing is so fat, like I can barely hold it in my hands. But I trust you guys. So number 9, A Count of Monte Cristo. I'm so scared. Now, number 8, we are completely shifting gears. We went from a mega fat classic to a little rom-com. I don't know how heavy on the rom-com this one is. This is How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. I think this might read more as a women's fiction with a little bit of romance sprinkled in there. This is about an engaged couple. They experience a very tragic accident. I'm not sure what kind of accident, but that incident is the catalyst to driving a wedge between their relationship. I'm not sure if this is going to be a story about reconciling a relationship or if it's going to kind of end the relationship and she's going to start a new relationship. I don't know. But this sounds like it could be redemptive, a little bit emotional, maybe a little bit messy, but I really hope it is a story about them mending their relationship and overcoming the trials that they have to face after experiencing this accident. And I feel like this would be a great option for a palate cleanser after some of these heavier, more like big girl books. I'm really happy with this choice. Next at number 7, I have Homeseeking by by Carissa Chen. I have had this book on my radar to read for quite some time. You guys know historical fiction is one of my favorite genres, but I just don't read it. All of the historical fictions that I've ever read so far, I've loved. So you think I would just keep picking them up, but for some reason, I don't know. I think it's usually because those are the books that like crush my heart the most, and I need to just read a few romances after that or something. But I believe this historical fiction is actually also a romance. It's told in dual timeline form, which I really enjoy. It's about two childhood friends who end up blossoming into lovers, but one of them enlists in the army in 1947 to save his brother from the draft, and all she was left with was his violin and a note that says "forgive me." So this follows separated lovers through 6 decades of tumultuous Chinese history as war, famine, and opportunity take them separately to the song halls of Hong Kong, the military encampments of Taiwan, bustling streets of New York, and sunny California, telling Haiwen's story from the present to the past while tracing Suchi's from her childhood to the present, meeting in the crucible of their lives. I am really, really excited to see how the author weaves together a story going from present to past and another POV from past to present and then meeting in the middle. That just seems like you would have to be like a genius in order to make that work. And from the way this was recommended, I have a feeling this is just going to be amazing and I'm going to really enjoy this one. So number 7, Homeseeking by Carissa Chen. And coming in at number 6, I have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I am so excited. I am so excited. I've never read these books as an adult, and I really want to get up to date with the series before the newest movie comes out, which I believe it comes out in November. I'm kind of in the mood to just go back in time and read like the OG classic dystopian series, like Hunger Games, Divergent, Harry Potter. I was thinking about doing a video just coupling all of those together and reading them for the first time as an adult, but this has just been calling to me recently, and I'm very happy that you guys chose it. I'm not even gonna say what this is about. Everybody knows what this is about and or has seen the films, but I'm excited to read it and see how they compare to one another because I really loved the movies, and I'm excited to just kind of go deeper into the story and see what I was missing by just watching the films versus finally reading the book. So at number 6, we have The Hunger Games. Number 5, Feast of Eden by John Steinbeck. I'm nervous about this one as well because I'm anticipating it to be one of my favorite reads of all time. And if you've watched my videos for a while, you know that if for some reason I just know that I'm gonna love a book, I don't read it. I think it's because I just always want the option of having like an amazing read on my shelf. But if I keep doing that, they're all just gonna sit there and I'm not gonna read them. So I'm really happy that y'all gave me the nudge I needed to finally pick this one up. This is a classic book and it's kind of a spin on the story of Cain and Abel. I'm looking forward to hearing all of the allegory. I've heard there's some amazing quotes in here and I just know I'm gonna love this one. And I'm so happy that y'all chose it. I've not heard a single bad review about this book, so I know it's gonna be a good one. Book number 4, I actually don't own. It is Edenbrook by Julianne Donaldson. However, I did place a hold on Libby and it will be available in 2 weeks. So about halfway through June, I'll be able to start this one. Again, it's just one of those books that I feel like is very niche that not a lot of people talk about, but once they read it, everybody loves it and it just becomes all they talk about. Kind of with the Emma M. Lyon books where it started off very, very niche and it just is kind of like blowing up. And also like Emma M. Lyon, it is a Regency romance and it's clean, it's witty, it is apparently really good. That's why y'all are recommending it to me. I don't know anything other than it is a clean Regency romance. So number 4 is Edenbrook, and I'm really excited to finally get to that one because I've had it on my radar for quite some time. Now we're getting into the top 3. This one to me, I think is the most shocking. I was not expecting so many people to recommend this book. However, I feel like my channel is kind of niching down on reaching Christian readers, and y'all recommended A Time to Die by Nadine Brandeis. I don't know if this has any romance in it or not. All I know is that this takes place in a dystopian world where everybody knows the exact time and day that you will die. And the female main character has pretty much exactly 1 year left to live. It says the authorities find out that she has been illegally sharing a clock with her twin brother. She's cast through the wall, which is her people's death sentence. And what she finds on the other side about the world, about God, and about herself changes Parvin forever and might just save her people if she can get the world to them before her time runs out. This book has been on my radar since I learned that Christian fantasy was a thing, and I'm so excited that y'all chose it. So number 3, A Time to Die by Nadine Dean Brandy's. Okay, now we're down to the top 2. But before I tell you guys what the top 2 are, let me share my 2 book club books for the month. Book number 1 is Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Sinsodi. I'm probably butchering her last name, but this is a clean rom-com. I think it might have a little bit of language in it, but I believe it's spice-free, and it's about childhood friends who have to fake date, and it is very reminiscent of the feel of a 2000s rom-com. And in my Christian book club, I have the first book in the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. It's called Out of the Silent Planet. This book looks fat, and that's because it's 3 books put into one. And the first book is the shortest. It's only like 150 pages. I think it's actually less than 150 pages. The second one gets a little chunkier, and then the last one is like more than half the book. But genuinely, I have no idea what this is about other than C.S. Lewis wrote it, and it's a sci-fi. I'm sorry I can't give you more to go off of. That's just all I know. And if you want to read these books along with me, I will leave the links to both of my book clubs in the description so that you guys can join for free. Now let's get into the top 2 recommended books for me to read in June. It was basically a tie. Like, it was so close to being a tie. However, number 1 was just a little bit more recommended, but number 2 is none other than Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I am thrilled with this choice because it has been so rainy. It is gonna be hot still, but like the weather, if you're inside, it looks like it's fall outside. So on a rainy day, I'm just going to sit down and binge this book because I feel like that's like the perfect ambience to read this in. On the back, it says that this is a novel of intense emotional power, heightened atmosphere, and fierce intelligence. Jane Eyre dazzled and shocked readers with its passionate depiction of a woman's search for equality and freedom on her own terms. Her natural independence and spirit prove necessary when she takes a position as governess at Thornfield Hall. But when she finds love with her sardonic employer, Rochester, the discovery of a shameful secret forces her to make a terrible choice. I've never seen the movie and I've never read the book, so I'm going to be experiencing this whole story for the first time, and I could not be more excited to do that any other time than my birthday month, because I just know this is going to hit hard. And last but not least, the most recommended book to me, A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. This is the first book in the Mark of the Lion trilogy. I've also had it on my shelf for what feels like 2 years. I have been told that this is a little dark, a little emotional, which sounds perfect. Like, that's my cup of tea in a book. I don't need it to be so squeaky clean that it's unrealistic, because life itself is not clean. Does that make any sense? But what I don't want to read is glorifying sin. But we operate in a world of sin, so it'd be weird if there wasn't flawed people in a book to me. And I've heard that this is just that. It is about a Christian girl who is living in Rome under people who are very sinful. There's dark things that happen, but she stands firm in her faith, and it's just a story about her journey. Everybody who reads this gives it a 5 stars, so much so that everybody in my comments was recommending this book most of all, and I am so excited to read it. It was the number 1 most recommended to me, so I think it's my number 1 most excited book to read on this entire list, because I just want to know why everybody loves it so much. Very high hopes for this one. I knew that was gonna happen. If you have any ideas for reading vlogs for these books, let me know. Just looking at this stack, I think I could do a classics reading vlog. I could do a Christian fiction reading vlog, but I don't know. If you have any other video recommendations, feel free to let me know. And thank you to everyone who took the time to recommend me these books. I'm so excited to read them. Dare I say this might be the best TBR that I've had this year? I think it is, because you guys picked it. But before we close out the video, let's do a little recap of all of the books that y'all chose for me to read in June. For my book club books, I have Picking Daisies on Sundays and Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. Number 10, A War of Crowns by Ashley Willingham, or Mark of the Raven. Number 9, A Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Number 8, How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. Number 7, I have Homeseeking by Carissa Chen. Number 6, I have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Clark. Number 5, I have East of Eden by John Steinbeck. And number 4 is Edenbrook by Julianne Donaldson. Number 3, A Time to Die by Nadine Brandes. Number 2, I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And number 1, I have A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. But that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I pray you have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!